My name is Danica Pedersen. I grew up in Melbourne, and I started at a high school. I went to a high school, and it wasn't really for me. It didn't have a lot of sport. I was very sporty growing up, and my parents made the decision to move me a bit closer to home, but also to a sports school. So I finally found myself from a teenager point of view, being able to, I guess, play sport. And I met a bunch of awesome friends who I'm still friends with today. In year 12, our high school shut down. So we had about 2 months left in year 12, and we all had to get up, pack our stuff, and move down the freeway and set up camp at another high school. And yeah, we finished off our BCE there. And I think after that huge year of year 12, I just wanted to have a break. I knew leading into I guess a gap year, I didn't want to go to university. I wanted to just take a break and find out what I really, really wanted to do. So I ended up working with my dad for a year, and I thought, well, I need to use this year to, I guess, figure out where my next move is. I met a guy who just came out of the army, and I asked him a lot, and I was very intrigued, and I thought I'll join the army, or at least apply for the army, and see if I guess, get in and use that time to figure out what I want to do long term. I knew I wanted to do police officer or a firefighter. I just wanted to gain that life experience, and I was quite young. I just wanted to go out and do something active with a purpose. So I applied for the army, and it was challenging. It was a lot of paperwork that you have to do and complete, and a lot of back and forth, but it was definitely worth it. So I enlisted into the army as a cargo specialist in 2015, and I went to Kapooka. That was a very interesting environment. Not many people can say that you leave your family and put your phone away and get it taken off you. I've never put myself in that position again, but you realise how much of a privilege you have with freedom and whatnot. You get told what to eat every day. You wake up, you get told when to wake up, and you get told when to go to bed. You get told to basically do everything. But they drill in that you need initiative, but you can't have initiative because you can't think for yourself, and it's such a weird feeling because you're supposed to think for yourself, and they drill in initiative, but as soon as you do something that you're not told to do, it's not a great ending. But yeah, for a good 3 to 4 months you're at Kapooka, and you're really challenged. When I went into the army, my dad was like, you will last 2 weeks. And every time I wanted to leave, I just thought, nah, I'm not letting you in. So it was so worth it at the end of March out, and seeing my dad. My dad was like, oh, I'm very proud. He thought I was going to come back at 2 weeks. So yeah, I proved myself right. My sister's older, 3 years older than me. So sometimes I feel like we're the same age, and I'm much bigger than her. She's very small. It takes after my mum. So I sometimes just think I'm her big sister. She used to hit me a lot when I was a kid, and I was much smaller than her. And my mum used to say, I hope she grows up twice as big as you and gets you back twice as hard. And the day did come. I think she was about 5'4" or 5'5", and I'm about 5'11". And yeah, I've hit her a little bit, but I was just getting her back for all the times that she got me. But yeah, just a typical evil sister relationship. So my school shut down because it was in debt. Unfortunately, there was some things that were going on behind the scenes, and we didn't know about it at all until the last minute. There was massive media coverage back in 2012. We all had to move to a Catholic school, or you could choose your own school, but at that time there was only really one school opening their arms to us, because it was such a weird time of year to just let a whole bunch of 2 campuses into their school. So it was very, I guess, overwhelming for our family as well. But we all took our locker doors off and got everyone to sign it. So it was kind of like a little muck-up day. We didn't know what was going to happen. And I think we went on school camp or something, and we came back and they said we've got a closing date. This school, probably around 15 minutes away, were willing to take all of us, and they got all these extra buildings in with all these cranes and whatnot. So that was, we just wanted to go somewhere together. We didn't want to be split up, so it was good that we could finish off with most of us. And some other people decided to go to other schools, which is so fine, but I just wanted to finish school. If it's going to be interrupted, I want to finish school with my friends. So yeah, got special consideration for that, and I think it was just such a big year. I was just keen to just take a break, and I think my parents understood that. And they were like, as long as you get a job, we don't really care. You did have a big year, so yeah, started working with my dad, and I was thinking, all right, well, what am I going to do? I don't want to study. I think it turned me off school was because it was so logistically, I don't know, it just ruined it for me a little bit. My dad was one of the managers at a hotel in Melbourne, and he was like, you can have a gap year, but you need to work. I can get you a job at my work. And so it was in hospitality. So working at a hotel, which was pretty cool. It was a 5-star hotel. And yeah, for the first time I actually had to learn what customer service was, and smile a lot, even though you weren't overly happy. You just got to look like you are. But also, pretty cool that I got to work with my dad. He always had a hot chocolate waiting for me, or an omelette that he'd get the chefs to make, and I'd sneak off and say I'm going to the toilet, and I'd be in his office just at the back eating an omelette. No, it was pretty good. We got to drive in together, go home together. We basically formed a relationship that, yeah, we formed a relationship that was pretty special. Especially after high school, just kind of got to breathe and spend some time with your parents and get to know them from a different point of view, because you go to school your whole life basically, and to take a gap year and just, I guess, be with them when you were supposed to, well, in those times you were at school. So it's nice to see what my mum does every day. Watch Bold and the Beautiful, but Young and the Restless. But yeah, my dad was always walking around checking up on me, so that was good. It was quite nice, and it wasn't overly a stressful job either. But I got to meet so many cool people. I got to meet a lot of famous people, and I always just made sure that I treat them just like they were any other person. I didn't believe in, like, I guess, being fake and just because of who they are. I just want to be me, typical Aussie girl, when they come to Australia. And they'd offer me tips, and I'm like, no, don't worry about it. And everyone's like, why do you say no to tips? I'm like, I don't need a tip, you know. I'm just happy to take Kim Kardashian's bag upstairs. That's my tip. As a tip, I went up to Dolly Parton's manager's room, and I delivered his bags, and he started asking me questions. I'm like, oh, how long are you here for? And he goes, do you know Dolly Parton? And I go, yeah, sort of. And he goes, I'm her manager. I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome. He's like, yeah. And so I'm like, all right, well, have a good day. I'll see you later. And he came downstairs and saw me, and he said, oi, I got $10. I'm so sorry. I don't have any money. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. And he goes, oh, for a tip, would you like some VIP passes for tonight for Dolly Parton? I said, nah, it's fine, don't worry about it. And he goes, no, VIP, or you can meet her. It's the least I could do. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm like, why would I want to go to Dolly Parton? And then I gave him my email, and he goes, I'll send you the tickets. And this is a day I discovered junk mail in an email, and I couldn't find the tickets. I'm like, this guy, he's not Dolly Parton's manager. And later on that night, I said to my sister, I told her the story, and I said, I haven't got the tickets yet. And she's like, oh, have you checked your junk mail? And I'm like, no. So I checked my junk mail, and here they are. They've been there for hours. And it said, call me when you get these. And so I called him, and I think I got 4 tickets, and I took my friends with me. And I called him, I'm like, I just got the tickets. And he goes, well, hurry up, get here now. And so we drove into the city, and I met him at the back, and he took me in and introduced me to Dolly Parton with her RV. She sleeps in an RV when she travels. And he told her who I was, and I went and watched, and it was actually a very, very, very good concert, and I was sitting near my parents as well. But yeah, I actually really did like her, and this is my biggest regret of my life. He calls me straight after the concert, and he goes, hey, do you and your friends want to come to Dolly's after party? And I said, nah, Danny, I can't. I've got work at 6 a.m. And he's like, no, I just come for a few drinks. There's going to be heaps of people there. And I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. And then I went to work the next day, and he had left. And the next week, we were both in Sydney at the same time. I was going on a holiday with my friends, and he came over to where we were eating breakfast, and he paid for all my friends' breakfast. And he took us to the bank as well, and he was like a little security guard. And everyone's like, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh, it's Dolly Parton's manager. And they're like, what? And they were all just absolutely mind blown. And they're like, how do you know him? And I'm like, oh, I just took his bags up one day. And they were just like, how? And I told them he invited me to the after party, and they're like, you went, yeah? I'm like, no, I didn't go. Now, what is it, 10 years later? Oh my God. What do I do to get my time back again and go to Dolly Parton's after party? Geez, the biggest regret of my life. Who cares if I have work at 6 a.m? I'd call in sick any day of the week for that. So in that break of, I'm not sure what I want to do with my career, I know that I want to do something physical. I want to do something that I feel a purpose. It's pretty important to me that I feel the need of having a purpose. So police force was always on the agenda, a fire brigade was a firefighter was always on the agenda. So I guess before I go into that space, I wanted to get some life experience and find out who I really am and test myself, and I ended up joining the army. It was a hard decision. I'm pretty close to my friends and family, but I just thought I need to go challenge myself and go find myself as well. It's pretty daunting going into an environment like that. I didn't really know much about it in high school. I had one girl in my class say, I'm joining the army, I don't need to do the test, I don't need to do that stuff, I'm joining the army. And I'm like, what? How can you just join the army? What is the army? I didn't even know, and this is year 12. How are you just going to join the army? I didn't know. And then a year later, I decided doing some understanding on what the army's about, reading into it, finding people that were in the army and asking those questions. And there was a lot of positivity around joining the army, and a lot of fun, I suppose, in some aspects. And my uncle served as well, and I spoke to my uncle about it. My uncle's pretty much of a role model sort of thing. He's a person that's very motivating, as well as my father as well. So I definitely wanted to do what he's done and follow in the footsteps of it. And was great for me. It was about an hour and a half from home, so I got to go back every weekend. And then I got posted to Townsville, so that was a massive change, obviously going into North Queensland to live. So I drove up there and I obviously was training to be a full-time cargo specialist. A cargo specialist basically is logistics course, and it's basically sea, rail, road, just any logistics. And I guess what we used to say to explain what we do, because it's quite hard to explain. We're the first people on the scene and we're the last people to leave. So we supply basically from machinery, any supplies, ammunition, anything that is required. We've got like a lot of cranes, heavy trucks, Calmars, so a lot of qualifications in that. So it is, massive transport logistics core, and it's a little bit of fun. And I ended up completing my cargo specialist course, and there were amazing people that were actually originally applied to a firefighter, and they ended up hiring them for 18 months and I was back. So they said cargo specialist is hiring. I just get in and see how I go. I'm so glad I chose cargo specialist because the people I met were just so unreal. They were such awesome bunch of people. Being a female in the army was challenging at times, but I found it quite rewarding as well. I think education is key, and you can show people that females can do just as much as males. And I was in a pretty hands-on role as well, so you had to be quite active, lift heavy things. We were doing I guess craning, licenses that required like heavy machinery. And when you see a female, I guess, behind a big forklift and a big crane and trucks, it's really empowering. And because I guess back in the day, you probably just assumed to see a male in there. And now you've got these females that just got their ponytails and their buns and plaits and whatnot and just rocking it. And it was pretty cool. And I think I was in the era where that was all happening, and girls were getting just as much, I guess, opportunities as the males as well. But yeah, it wasn't too bad from that point of view. Biggest regret was not preparing myself for City Street at all. I did the course to do my resume up, and I don't think that was really beneficial for me at all, but I took leave as soon as I could. So I moved back to Melbourne. I took 3 months of leave, army leave, and at the end of the day, the reality is the leave's going to run out. And 3 months is, when you think about it, it's 6 paychecks. And I did nothing with it. I just moved back home and just wanted to feel that freedom and just take a breather. And the hardest bit was when I left for the army, I was living with my parents and I had a job. And I came back after years of experience and living out of home, living an independent life as a young female. And when I came back, I fell back I moved back with my parents, and I had to go back to my old job because my time was running out with my pay. Like my pay, it runs out. So I had to message my old work and be like, would you take me back again? It's like I needed more time to be like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm back. What am I doing? For years, I was very reliant on the army because the army tell you, where you live, where you're supposed to be, your timings, every day, all that kind of things. They can say no to, I guess, a weekend away. They structure your life. You don't really need to think that much. You just think about your food every day. And I guess you've had that structure for so long. And when you get out, it's such a shock. No one's telling you to go to work. No one's telling you to apply for jobs. You've got to take that initiative yourself. And I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't ready for that. I found myself in the exact same place, if not worse, after I got out of the army, because I'm still living with my parents. I've got no other job. I'm still in that same job as when I left as such a young female, and I've come back as in my mid-20s, and I feel like I've gone backwards, where I've joined the army to find myself and go better myself. And I felt like a bit of a failure because I feel like I'm just 10 feet behind as to when I left. It just didn't make sense for me. And if I had my time back again, I wouldn't have taken that 3 months of leave. I would have taken a breath and been like, all right, what am I going to do? I'm going to use this time to apply for jobs whilst I'm getting paid still by the army. And I guess set myself up a bit better, because you can apply for a job and get an interview, but you could get it in a month's time. And then what are you going to do with that month? How are you going to live? How are you going to get paid? Especially if you rely on your income. But because of my circumstances, when someone said to me, do you want to take your leave and get out earlier? I did that. And I just wanted to get out while I could, instead of facing my situation for another 3 months. I thought, no way can I walk through those gates for another 3 months. I think that also played a bit of a factor as well, which was quite unfortunate, but I felt like I just had to get out, but I had no support. When you leave, no one checks in with you. No one says, can I help you get a job? These days, if you don't have a job, at least like Centrelink or someone helps you get a job, and they apply for jobs for you. I never had that at all. And, it caused a bit of stress on my family as well. They were quite concerned. I mean, their daughter's gone away for a couple of years and she's come back and she's different, but she's still in the same place. So I think that was quite, it was a bit embarrassing from a point of view. Everyone was happy to have me back, but nothing changed. And I don't think I gained that respect, I think, because I fell back in that place. But I did do a program, which I wish I had a lot earlier as well, but it was a Survive to Thrive program. It was just came up to me in an ad, a Survive to Thrive Nation program, and it came up in an ad on social media, and I thought it was a scam, and I thought I'd enroll in it because I saw some comments that looked legit, and it helped me a lot. It was probably something I definitely needed to hear as soon as I came out of the army, because it talks about like adjusting back into life again, and you don't feel so alone. I didn't have any mentor. I had no one checking in. I had no one seeing how I was feeling. It's a massive adjustment to come out of a military environment for many years, and then all of a sudden it just stops and you're just by yourself, and it becomes very lonely because you're like, where do I look to? Where do I go? I remember going for jobs. I go to a job interview and I wear like black pants with my R.M. Williams that I got from the army, and I wear a shirt. And I go to an interview, and after the interview I go to a cafe with a laptop and I just sit there and have a coffee. I wasn't necessarily working. I was just looking for a job, but I felt good because I was dressed up. I was in a cafe. I looked like I worked from home. I looked important. I felt important, but I was just looking on Seek. And I was just getting out and just reassessing my life. But when someone asks, how are you going? Like, you must love being out of the army. You must love being back home. Like, no, I'm actually feeling like shit. I'm not in a good place at the moment. So I would say to them, yeah, I'm so glad to be home, because that's the answer that you should say. I don't know. I miss my mates that were in Townsville. I miss my army friends, because you have so much in common with being in the army together. And I've come out of the army and people just, nothing changes. You still come back to, like it's never, like it's just like you blinked your eyes for 3 years and you just open them again, nothing changes. And when I got out of the army, I think when I was a bit lost, I went back to footy straight away. I knew that was something that I needed to do, and I love footy and it was my outlet. And so I went back to footy, and then my footy club folded again on me. Like my school first and now my footy club, I can't win. But I had the luxury and the privilege to find a club, and all the clubs opened their arms up to me, and the hardest decision was which one am I going to choose. So I went a bit closer to home and chose from that perspective, which I probably shouldn't have done that, but that's fine. And I started the season with the Carlton Football Club, and so that was probably the year after I got, I started at Carlton Football Club a year after I got out, probably not even a year after I got out. And yeah, I was in a pretty lost stage at that point. And I was quite injured from the army after coming out. So I was trying to get through footy with anti-inflams, and I remember shaking opposition's hands after the game, crying. I had tears going down my eyes because I was in so much pain. But I love footy so much. I just wanted to be out there. And then I was sitting at home after the season, and I didn't really invest my time in there when I reflect, but I got a phone call, and I was quite friends with the coach, and I'd known her from obviously past experiences, and she called me, and I'm like, why is she calling me? And I answered the phone, and she's like, oh, and she was all like, she was all muffled and everywhere. And she's like, oh, the club's delisting you. I don't know how to tell you, but they've chosen not to sign you. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, it was pretty quick to get off the phone. I was in shock because I've gone from all these options of teams. I've had interviews with AFLW clubs the year prior. For draft and whatnot. I've gone from all this and to being delisted, and I'm like, I cannot be any more lost. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I burnt my bridges some at other places. I'm like, where am I going to go? And at that point, it was probably the best thing was being delisted, because I just wanted to play VFL. I don't care about being drafted. I don't want to go to a club just purely mentally to be like, I need to get drafted. I don't play well with that mindset. So I call up my mate, she coached Williamstown. And a year prior, she was trying to get me to play with Williamstown, and it was their first ever season. And I said no, and I went to Carlton, and I ended up getting delisted. And she thought, see, should have come to Williamstown. But anyway, I called her. I was up in Noosa on a holiday, and I thought, I'll give her a call, because if she rejects me, I'm on a holiday. Still happy. So anyway, I called her and I said, oi, can I come to Williamstown? She goes, why, did you get delisted? I'm like, yep, I did. And she goes, all right, why do you want to come to Williamstown? And I said, I just want to play footy. I just want to give it my all, play the VFL. I don't care about AFL. I just want to play VFL football. I think at that time, it was better than AFL. It was such a great league. It was the best league in Australia at that point. AFLW hadn't developed completely yet. So I just want to play. And she goes, all right, you can come down to training. I'll send you some information, but you're working for your contract. Like, you can prove to me that you want to be there. I'm like, shit, okay. I thought, all right, she hasn't said no. So I went down to trainings. She was very standoffish to me. But I just thought, put your head down, get fit, get your body right, I think. I was really struggling with my body coming out of the army. And I was a young girl, I was 24, and having these chronic pains and these chronic injuries, so it didn't really make sense in my mind as to why my body was shutting down. But yeah, I got so fit, I lost a bit of weight, I started getting happy. I started going to a footy club I just had this different feeling. I was going in happy with a smile on my face. I come out laughing. So that was pretty cool. And this club isn't known to be an AFLW powerhouse club. It's known to be, it's Williamstown. Like, why would you play at Williamstown? And I'm like, because it makes me happy. And then, anyway, so I was fighting my way with training. I completely forgot about that contract. And I think that's what was pretty cool. So she came up to me towards the end of the pre-season and goes, "Oi, I need you to sign your contract." I go, "Oh, you're giving me one?" And she goes, "Yeah, you deserve it." And I actually felt like I did deserve it. Probably the other times I just took it for granted. I didn't care. And it was really nice to work for something, because I haven't really worked for something since Kapooka. You know, you got a goal and you try your hardest, and I've never had done that since Kapooka. So I signed with Williamstown at the end of 2018 for the 2019 season, and I don't know what the hell happened, but I played pretty alright in that year, and I made friendships and relationships. I got into the leadership group, and they all got injured on me throughout the season. I think at one stage, like, I felt like I was the captain because everyone was injured. There was no one to look to, and it was just me. And I go, all right, I can do this. It's so fine. So I did it, and I remember after a game we lost and we should have won, and I got the girls and I said, you know, our season's almost finished. You might get a phone call saying that you're delisted. You've got to take every opportunity, every game like it's your last. And all those girls knew how important Williamstown was to them. And I've been there, I've had that phone conversation, and it's horrible. And then they got rid of, I felt like they just got sick of my voice a little bit. I'm like, I need someone else. So we were playing at Icon Park, and I was warming up, and I'm looking at girls, I'm thinking, who doesn't speak that much? And I'm like, all right, Eliza Strafford. This makes me emotional. I went up to Eliza and I go, "Oi, I need you to talk to the group before we go out." And she goes, "Me? What am I going to say?" I go, just say something, say this, say that. I want them to hear another voice. I think it's important. And now she's a captain. Now she's a captain of the Williamstown Football Club. And from that day on, her leadership and her confidence were, I loved it. I loved watching that. And once again, I felt a purpose. I felt a connection. And I don't know what it was, but I knew that she could lead. And she wasn't loud. She's completely different as to what she was 5 years ago. But it's so special to see someone take that role from coming from essentially nothing. And everyone would say, Eliza's quiet, loud. And I'm like, back in the day, she was very quiet. But I think, and she even says to me to this day, she goes, "You got me talking." And it was that the initiation of going, "You can do it." And I think having me saying you can, she did. And yeah, she just got told she was a captain officially for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And I felt like a proud sister. But yeah, no, it's the respect that she has, and she's made that club just like I have and really invested in it. It's been really good to watch. But that year, so 2018, throughout the year, ended up playing really, really good footy, finding my spot in the team, and I got a few interviews with AFL clubs. I even had an AFL club say to me, "We're going to draft you." And it was interstate too. And I'm like, oh God, like I'm gonna have to move my stuff again, but that's fine. Playing footy, might find another purpose. And the draft was on a Tuesday. They called me on the Monday and they said, we're not gonna pass, because I was gonna go as a free agent. They're like, we're gonna pick someone up in our state. And I'm like, amazing. Thanks for telling me. But yeah, so that wasn't great, but that's fine. I still had a really, really good season. I ended up going to this function and getting into the VFL Team of the Year, and I didn't expect it. And my CEO, he was like, make sure you come. And I'm like, yeah, I might come. I might take up the invitation. He goes, no, you've got to be there. And he's looking at someone else to make sure I go there. And yeah, I'm sitting there and they're announcing the Team of the Year, and I'm like, oh, I got in. Like it was just crazy. From where I came last season, getting delisted, and I'm walking on this stage in front of my old coach, my old team, and I just thought, yeah, see you later. I'm better off now, and thank you for delisting me. And yeah, I just felt a lot of power ever since I left the army. It was like a march out, but yeah, no, I was really proud of myself. And it was just kind of giving the club back something, because I got happy, and I was happy on field, off field, really supported by a club. I thought, you know, this award's not mine. It's hats off to you. If I wasn't happy, I wouldn't have got that award. And I ended up getting a train-on contract at North Melbourne as well that year. So I got to see the inside of AFLW. So it was a bit of a reward for, I guess, having a really, really good season. And I look at that, I got the VFLW Team of the Year team at my parents' house, and I've looked at it. I'm the only one who's not drafted in that team. Everyone else is drafted, and I thought, at the start, I thought, geez, maybe I shouldn't be in there. Like, oh, maybe I should be drafted. But now I look at it and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm the only one that's not drafted in that Team of the Year. Like, I think that speaks volumes, and I was just unlucky, but that's pretty cool, I think, the way I think about that. My favourite moment in 2023 was putting on the Indigenous jersey finally that I co-designed with Alicia Newman. She's a past player at Williamstown just recently, and Jalen Thorpe, he's a past player at Williamstown as well, and both Indigenous. But in 2019, we had the privilege to sit down with our CEO at the time and in his house and go through what we wanted on the jumper. And I knew that I wanted to put in some values that we hold quite high in our club and our community. But yeah, we had the privilege to co-design it together, and we came up with a pretty cool design. It's the first ever Indigenous jersey that the Williamstown Football Club have had. So that in itself is amazing. But we designed it back in 2019, and COVID hit in 2020, and 2021, COVID as well. And then in 2022, Alicia and I were playing at another club, so we never got to wear it. So in 2022, Williamstown did wear this for the first time, and it was pretty special to see it run out, but I was pretty sad because I never actually got to put it on. So bittersweet. And I had no intentions of wearing it because I didn't think I was going to come back to Williamstown. And then when they said that I could play and got the all clear to play, I thought, wait, I might actually be able to wear it. And I was strictly like, no one else designed the jersey because I want to wear it. And in leading up to Indigenous round, they said, we're going to go with your design. I was so happy. It was unreal, the feeling, and I could finally actually put it on. But leading into it, it was my 50th game as well, and so it was quite fitting. So I had my 50th game, and then it was Indigenous round, and I got to finally wear it, which was really, really special. And I got to wear it actually alongside Alicia. So Alicia came back to Williamstown as well. So we got a photo together just before the game, and yeah, we were just looking at each other like, we're actually finally wearing the Indigenous jersey that we had accepted that we will not be wearing it. And it would just be in the history books for Williamstown. And yeah, so we've got a few that we need to frame. So hopefully we can do that this year and frame it. And because we are obviously pretty proud of the design and designing it together. And from seeing this from a notepad and pen to an actual design and just sitting around the table being like, what should we put on it? And to have it in front of you and you wearing it, it's just such a weird feeling, but very privileged and honoured to wear it. I know the club is very proud as well. And the advice that I give to younger generations, you've got to work on yourself. At the end of the day, you have to be in yourself, and you have to, you're constantly developing, and you've got your biggest set of growth. And I had my biggest set of growth in the army, and I am very proud of how I've turned out, and I'm very proud of myself to this day. I'm still growing, I'm still learning, but I'm proud of who I've become, and I'm proud of who I am. But I think I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have the confidence to just do it and go in and put yourself in a, no one wants to put themselves in an uncomfortable situation. It's normal. Like, people don't like feeling uncomfortable, but you got to do it because that's how you grow and that's how you learn. And that's how I learned. I mean, one of my close mates, he passed away in 2014, and I was going through the army application at that time, and I saw him 2 weeks prior. And he goes, what's going on with the army, Danica? And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go in. Like, I think they might reject me, I'm worried. And he goes, no, you wanna do it, go do it. Like, you'd be great at it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Like, I wasn't sure. And then 2 weeks later, I got a phone call that he'd passed away and he ended his own life. And I was shocked because I'm like, how is this guy telling me to go live my life and go do things, and he's dealing with his own battles and whatnot. And less than a year later, and I knew at that time it was a perfect time to go in the army because I was grieving at home and I wasn't thriving, I can tell you that right now. So the best thing for me was, oh, how perfect, going into the army. And to be honest, it was because of him. He was the one that was saying, go do it. I was at the end of my application and he was the drive that I needed to submit it, and I'm so glad I did. And yeah, no, it's pretty cool how the world goes around, and he would honestly be amazed that I'm versing his sister in VFL footy. So it's a pretty cool story, but I would not have gone in the army if it wasn't for him, that's for sure.